Hello, everyone. Welcome to Curiosity Uncovered. My name is Harley, and today we are focusing on our sense of smell, specifically some animals in the world that are kind of like super sniffers. A lot of these animals honestly kind of help save the world a little bit. So we have a few images behind me of some of the animals we're going to focus on. We have an elephant, a little dog, and then the one right in the middle is our biggest one we're going to focus on today. But they're not sniffing for pizza, they're not sniffing for food, they're actually sniffing for things that can kind of help us, maybe diseases or things that we want to get out of the earth for things to be a little bit better for us. So when we think about sense of smell and we think about animals that have a strong sense of smell, typically you think about dogs. Dogs are wonderful pets, but they can also be trained to do some really, really incredible things. Specific breeds like Labrador Retrievers and Spaniels have been trained to sniff out diseases, including cancer, malaria, and even COVID-19. Sometimes, even if you're around a store, maybe you have seen a dog that is right next to somebody and has a vest on that says, "Don't pet, please leave me alone." Now, sometimes those dogs have another purpose, but sometimes those dogs are trained to smell and help that specific person that they're with, and they're really trying to smell for a dip in blood sugar or something that is happening internally to that person so that they can detect it and help them know if something is wrong with them, and then they can give them a little nudge to help them. But the reason these dogs are so good at this is because they have about 300 million olfactory receptors, and that's your smelling receptor inside of you. Compared to us, we have about 5 to 6 million, so 300 to 5 to 6 is vast. Their brains are also wired to process smells incredibly fast, which is about 40 times faster than ours. If a human is sick, what they're smelling for is something called volatile organic compounds, also known as VOCs. And some animals can be detected to smell these in your breath, in your sweat, or even in your urine, which is also your pee. So dogs are super duper special, and we know that they're really special, but they can really do some amazing things for us and for everybody around us. So the next one is a larger mammal. We have our elephants, one that we don't commonly see as much, but they have one of the best noses in the entire animal kingdom. Their trunks are not just for grabbing food, these long pieces right here, but they're also highly sensitive smelling tools. They have more olfactory receptor genes than any other land animal. It's about 2,000 olfactory receptor genes. It's a lot. So they can detect scents from miles and miles away, especially around the water, and they can smell up to about 12 miles away in dry environments. But here's where it gets kind of wild. Scientists have trained elephants to detect explosives and poached ivory just by smelling samples in the air. Their noses are so powerful that conservationists are using them to track illegal wildlife trade operations, which is a huge problem in this world. So, on to one of the things that really sparked my curiosity about wanting to do this Curiosity Uncovered, and that is this rat right here. This is a giant African pouched rat, and they are about 3 feet long, so about this big. They're huge rats. Now, most time people think of rats and they get scared, but these rats are doing amazing work. And the reason they're being trained to do this amazing work is for mainly 2 reasons. There's over 60 countries that are contaminated with hidden landmines and other explosive remnants from past wars. And because there have been tragic accidents because people are not allowed to, or they can't farm on this land because of these hidden landmines that they don't know anything about. These rats, though, are super light. So they have been trained to detect those landmines and detect that smell and be able to go around and smell and see if they can find it. Now, another thing that these rats can do is they can detect something known as TB. TB is known as tuberculosis, and it remains the world's deadliest infectious disease. In 2022 alone, 10.6 million new people contracted TB. 3.1 million went undiagnosed, and 1.3 million people died because of TB. Slow and inaccurate detection methods make it really difficult to treat this specific disease in time. So these hero rats, they're trained to sniff out the TB and they can smell it in human sputum samples. Identifying these cases is much faster than these lab tests, and it's a lot more inexpensive, which is really, really good. They can screen up to about 100 samples in just 20 minutes. This makes TB detection cheaper and more accessible, which are two very, very important things for us. So they don't just do this with no reward. They do get little snacks because they do love to smell, but they do also still love to eat. And they get peanuts and bananas, and they get treated really, really well. Now, the nonprofit organization that does this is known as Apopo. They use the giant pouched rats, these rats right here. They're known as the hero rats, but they also have hero dogs that help train to look for the landmines as well as detecting tuberculosis. So all three of these animals are just some wonderful creatures that we have using their super duper sense of smell to help save lives. Now, if you're looking for something sort of fun to do and dive into something around your sense of smell with your kids or just for fun, we've done a lot of activities with senses of smell before, but one that's really fun is getting little containers that you can't see what's in them, or even into a paper bag where you can't see what's inside of it. Put cotton balls inside of them, about 2 or 3, and then get a variety of essential oils. Put 3-4 drops in them, pass them on to somebody, and allow them to open it up, give it a good sniff, and see if they can tell you what smell it is. If you're doing this activity, one thing I would recommend also having is coffee. Coffee helps sort of cleanse that palate in your nose, so you can take a sniff of the first sample, do a sniff of your coffee, and then go on to the next one. We've done this before with just your basic essential oils. You can do this if you want to make it holiday themed. It's really up to you. If you don't have essential oils on hand, go outside. Look for some things out in nature that are going to show that sense of smell, like pine needles or even an acorn. They have really strong senses of smell if you can really get a good sniff on them. So thank you all for joining us today. Hopefully you guys continue to learn more about some other animals and their sense of smell. And if you're interested in learning more about the Apopo nonprofit, this is how you guys spell it. They do some amazing work. Feel free to go look on their website and learn more about those cool rats. Thanks for joining.